Every time I think that a sugoroku-based game can't get any worse, they somehow find a way. The Gorilla Man is the worst sugoroku game I've played so far. We only have one more to go, so hopefully that one doesn't outdo it. Sugoroku is a kind of Japanese board game. In fact, it's pretty much the default board game. You have a map, and on every turn, players roll a die, move that many spaces, and then something happens. The outcome of the game is effectively random. The impact that you as a player can have on the game is tiny. Gorilla Man is based on a comic, and the titular Gorilla Man is a large, gorilla-faced boy who transfers to a new school and has encounters with the local punks there. Gorilla Man rarely says anything, and doesn't really show any expression, so the real main characters are the gang of punks. The game Gorilla Man supports the Party Tap, the funky controller that gave 6 different people one button with which to control a game. This time I think you'll have a much easier time playing with controllers. When you start playing a game, you're given your choice of 3 scenarios. Don't be fooled, they are all effectively identical. A few of the spaces will change effect, and in scenario 2 your goal will change, but the maps that you're playing on and most of the very few events that occur will be identical. Then you choose which character you're playing as. Gorilla Man himself is not one of the options. You also choose how many days you're going to play, and a day consists of a lap through 3 different game boards. I strongly recommend that you do not increase it above 1 day, and not just because this is an awful game. After that, you have to pick a random card that will adjust your stats. They could go up or down, and you really don't have any control here. And then we start playing. And for most of the game, on your turn, you'll roll a die, move that many spaces, and then an event may or may not occur. You see, most of the white spaces don't do anything, and the majority of the board are white spaces. Events at least are consistent, so this space will always have this event on it when someone lands there. On your turn, you can also look at the game map, or you can check out everyone's stats. Every player has exactly 3 of them: EV, HP, and money. You can only use money to gamble, and thus get more money, or buy things at one shop. EV is how you win in the first and third scenarios. Whoever has the most when you reach the end of the course wins. I do not know what EV stands for. I don't have a manual for this one, and shockingly, people don't seem to talk about it. In the second scenario, whoever has the most HP at the end wins. Naturally, there are squares that will let you gain and lose hit points and electron volts. And if someone runs out of hit points, then the game is over. Not that person has been eliminated, the game is over for everyone. It was actually a bit nerve-wracking as I was wrapping up my game, because one of the players had 4 hit points, and 2 of the squares in front of him could eliminate 5. And that's why you don't want to play for more than 1 day. He lost all of his health in 1 trip around the boards. If we kept going on to another day, it would have ended for sure. There's technically 4 different boards here. 3 of them are the standard sugoroku, and the first one represents you rushing to school. The second board is you going to class, and then the last sugoroku board is you hanging out after school. In class is where things get a little complicated. When you arrive, you pick a desk at the back of the classroom, and that becomes marked with your color. On your turn, you randomly move to one of the 3 desks in front of you. If it's white, then an event occurs. If it has one of your opponent's colors, then you give them some of your electric vehicles. And if another player is occupying that space, then you don't move at all. Get to the front of the class, and on your turn you start marking any desk in the classroom with your color. Once all of the desks are colored in, then you get some bonuses based on how many are your color. There are some minigames that will occur if you land on the correct spot. The most common one is a fight with another gang, and for these you just have to hit the button to stop the indicator in the colored section. Whoever does the most damage in the fight wins, and you can gain or lose hit points based on this. That same meter is used when you play baseball, but here you get 3 strikes. The Gorilla Man can randomly show up during one of these events. In the fight, he takes over for you and just destroys the other person, while in baseball, he's pitching and it makes the bar go faster. Another mini-game is a multiple-choice quiz. Here you at least have all the time in the world to decide. and you gain or lose electoral votes depending on if you get it right. You're forced to stop on the game center when you pass it, and that has 4 different casino games. Which one you play is randomly determined. For horse racing, everyone gets to pick a horse to bet on. 2 people can't bet on the same horse, and the selection goes in player order, not in the order of the person who landed on the game center. Similarly, everyone can play roulette. If you want to bet on a specific number, you have to bet 200, but if you want to bet on red or black or high or low, then you only bet 50. There's also a slot machine that only one person will use, and a high and low game that never came up for me where you just guess if your card is higher or lower than what's shown. Another minigame is a foot race where everyone takes part, and here you just mash the button as hard as you can. Arm wrestling is played the same way, but you select which player will be your opponent. If you don't want to play the board game, there is another option. From the main menu, you can choose to only play the minigames in a party mode, but this only works if you have the party tab and are playing with other people. There is an advantage of being first to the goal on any of these boards. The first 3 players to reach that spot will gain additional expected value, and everyone after that will lose some. Also, if you're waiting around for other players to finish, you get to roll a die and that will give you a bit more bonus something. I actually managed to win my game of Gorilla Man, and I need to show you its spectacular ending. Ready? Let me go ahead and stop that. There's a bug in Gorilla Man that if you get certain endings, then the game freezes. So that is just some insult to injury there. Maybe it's to Gorilla Man's benefit that it isn't more widely known. The only people I could find talking about it, and that was 2 people, were just complaining about that bug. Even without those problems, this is a pretty awful game. There's less going on here than even the usual sugoroku games. The minigames are so slight that they don't really add anything, and sometimes Gorilla Man just shows up to win it for you. Gorilla Man is just a disaster. It is completely not worth playing.